Motlatjo Thetjeng has penned an article on his experience of joining COPE and the lessons for politicians who are now moving to ActionSA and other parties. Thetjeng is back home with the Democratic Alliance as an ordinary member, where he used to occupy the national spokesperson and MP posts. He joins us now to talk about his floor-crossing experience. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. So you joined the DA in 1999, and then you departed in 2008 to join COPE, and now you're back with the DA. Why?
Thanks, Mpho, and thank you for inviting me. Mpho, politicians sometimes got misled by events that are taking place without making the proper analysis. In fact, I joined the predecessor to the DA, which is the Democratic Party. It was unfashionable at the time when you join parties like the Democratic Party, because your locals and your colleagues, particularly when you come from the rural area, they will tell you that you are a sellout. When COPE was formed, it was a machine that seemed will sweep the ANC under the feet. And many of us believed that it is high time that the ANC should be unseated. And we thought COPE would do it. Little did I know that COPE won't actually manage to unseat the ANC. Actually, it is an entity that is dying. It actually is dead now. I think it's only few things that are remaining. I left the DA, but I never left with the voters. They rejected my departure. Since that article, I've received a lot of calls where people say, thank you for introducing us to the DA. You are back. We welcome you back. We are now going to vote, and we are now going to work with you. I think I'm taking myself as a prodigal son. When I left the DA, that was the biggest mistake. And even those that are leaving the DA with reasons that they are putting, I think they must ask me. They are going to regret very soon.
What are the reasons why you left the DA to begin with?
There were no reasons. I manufactured the reasons.
Why?
The DA, I was in the leadership of the DA. I was not worried about anything. I was the national spokesperson. I was in Parliament. I resigned, joined COPE, leaving Parliament seat. Probabilities were that I was to be returned to Parliament, but be that as it may, I left thinking that COPE is a vehicle that will actually make things better. And I can tell you now, there were no reasons that made me leave the DA, except the ones that I manufactured, because we normally manufacture reasons. When you want to leave something and you are no more interested, you always have reasons that do not exist, and you make them to exist.
So what reasons did you manufacture? What are some of the reasons that you manufactured?
At the time, I said the DA is not a good vehicle that will actually one day be governing. Things like those. Legally, I know now they are governing the Western Cape and other municipalities. And those reasons that I actually put at the time, I can tell you right away, I knew they were not correct, but I wanted to be correct, to be seen to be correct, in fact. Now, you work with the Tony Leon, Douglas Gibson, Helen Zille. None of these people ever bothered me. Actually, they took me as one of theirs, people that are in leadership. Some of the programs that we planned together, I saw them being implemented while I'm in COPE. And little did I know as well that when you join an organization like COPE, you are a member of a member, which never happens in COPE. In other words, you need to be aligned to a particular member so that now you can be taken in good state. Those kind of things don't happen in the DA. They take you on the basis of your skills, your abilities, and which is why when I voluntarily joined the DA, I took my skills there. The first time I met Helen in 1998, we had a workshop preparing for the local government elections in 2000. The moment we met, we clicked. She saw my skills, she saw my abilities, I saw everything. For the first time when I met her, I just saw somebody who's capable. And since that time, we have been working together. Even when I was at COPE, I'll call her and say, how are you, and all those kind of things. But I can tell you, in the DA, the leadership is good. The people on the ground in the rural areas now understand what the DA is. They never understood who the DA is. If you check the graph that I given you for the elections of 2006, you can see those particular voting stations, how we competed with the ANC. And if I had remained in the DA, that ward and the mark Ward 12 of Global Municipality, I can assure you today that ward would be DA ward.
So,
and it's a rural municipality.
So as you and I speak, I mean, we speak at a time where there is the notion of the black leader exodus within the DA. You speak about rules that you, reasons that you manufactured. But looking at the number of black leaders that have left the DA, high-profile black leaders, we're not just talking about ordinary members, and the reasons that they've given speak to feeling like they don't have a voice, feeling that there are racial dynamics at play. And you are speaking, singing high praises for the party and not, saying that you left the party with reasons that you may have manufactured. Do you think that the number of high-profile leaders, including Herman Mashaba, Musi Maimane, Bongani Baloyi, do you think that the reasoning that they've given may not be sufficient? Is it also manufactured like you manufactured your reasons?
Just to give one example, one of the reasons, if I remember, Herman Mashaba, when he left, he said, if Helen Zille comes back and retains the chairpersonship of the Democratic Alliance, he will resign. What kind of a reason is that? When somebody contests for the leadership, which he never stopped you from contesting, how then do you leave the organization because somebody is contesting for the leadership? All the element about racism, I can tell you right away now. People, when a black person and a white person meet, even if things that are done by a black person to me, when they are done by a white person, I would classify them as racism. I won't mention a name. One of the lawyers was telling another white lawyer to shut up. If that shut up was done by that white woman to the black man, it will be a story today. Now, I'm just saying to you that the element of racism was in the books is no more. If you don't like me, you don't like me. Whether you're black or white, you don't like me. But when you are in the DA, it's not about what color you are. It is your contribution to the organization. Are you fit for the purpose that they've actually assigned you? And all I can tell you now right away, whatever reasons that they are giving out now, they seem okay. Because remember that the narrative that they want to promote is that the DA is a racist party. I can tell you now, they are not. I have not seen Tony Leon being racist, Douglas Gibson, Helen Zille, and many more that I've worked with being white colleagues that have shown me that they are racist. There is no racism in the DA. Actually, the DA today is one of the multi-racial parties in this country than any other party you can actually think of. My family is much happy. My mother passed on in 2018. She was crying and saying, my son, why do you leave this organization? And when she died, I never understood. I never agreed. Now I regret that she's no more. But she always wanted me to remain. My mother-in-law also passed. She was saying to me, you can't leave this organization. My family members were never agreed. Even today when I'm rejoining, they are more than happy. They are more, even members of the ANC that know me very well, they are saying to me, good decision. And I'm quite happy to be rejoining the DA.
So you are now an ordinary member of the DA?
Yes, I am.
So what would you say to critics who may perhaps believe that you are using this platform and the open letter that you've spoken to now garner some support for a position in the DA? Is that also, how would you react to that sort of claim?
I've never done that. The support that I'll garner is for me to go to the ground. I'm going to the ground to constituencies that I left to tell them, to say, we are back, let's go and be members of the DA, vote for the DA. If the DA knows my skills, knows my competencies, it's up to them how they want to use me. I never go into the organization for a position. Even when I was at the national spokesperson, it was at the BS of the leadership of the DA. Even when I went to parliament, I had applied, I went to the interviews, and competently so. It is not that I'm looking for a position. The position, if it comes, is when they need me to do certain jobs that are there, because I've got skills and competences that they require. But it's not about that. My job is to go to the ground, and I am already on the ground, and I'm actually consolidating that membership that I've left behind for them to come back in, because I'm in Limpopo, will do that and make sure that the DA vote base increases.
So the departure of prominent black leaders in the DA has been cited by some analysts and critics that perhaps the DA is trying to reinforce the notion that the DA is not a comfortable place for growth when it comes to black leaders to grow and express themselves. Are you saying that in growing and expressing yourself that you were pretty comfortable? And also perhaps just adding to that, there's also been quite a lot said about the position of the DA at the moment, that perhaps with the DA receiving so many of black prominent leaders leaving the party, that the party may not itself be interested anymore in working towards the black vote. What are your thoughts around that?
The DA has always been the organization that is interested to garner votes from various communities, black and white. They never chose to really garner votes from the white community, if that is what you are saying.
Yes.
Now, the prominent leaders that are leaving the DA, they are not taking their voters with them. That I can assure you. They are taking their jackets alone. The voters will remain. If they can show you that they've taken the voters, then I can tell you that it's not going to be like that. So the whole scenario, the narrative that the DA is not interested in getting black votes, it's a wrong narrative that people want to hear. We are on the ground. We know what is happening now. All what is happening is that people are angry. People want electricity. They want water. They want everything else. And people have been given 30 years and more to govern. And they are not really doing any work better. Actually, every institution is collapsing now under the leadership of the organization that many of you and many people have voted. Now they're getting disappointed. Where the DA is governing, things are improving. There's no way we can talk about in the Western Cape where things are not better. They are better than in the countryside. It's a pity that the Western Cape can never become South Africa. If it was to become South Africa, one would wish that we are in the hands of the DA in South Africa as it is in the Western Cape, so that now corruption will end. Remember that the Zondo Commission, as it's normally called, the ANC is highly involved. There's no minister who's not involved in the state capture. Now it means we did a commission just to find out, to say ministers and other people in the ANC have been watching state capture. Now they want this situation to be solved by who? They are their own members that have done so. They must return the money. Corruption is actually eating us in this country. And today, many people are very hungry and are in poverty because of politicians that are governing today that are corrupt to the core.
Very well. Thank you so much for that. Perhaps let's leave it there for now, and thank you for your time.